when we're hanging off with one hand, we were actually hanging off a 100-foot tower with one hand. I mean, everything you see, it was real. We were doing it.
Welcome to Watch Mojo's Pop in the Culture, your weekly entertainment check-in. And me, I am your host with the most, Mojo. That's right, it's me, Mr. Hollywood himself, Matt Demers. Such a great show, as always. I'll be speaking with the stars and the director of the new survival film, Fall. Don't want to miss it. But first, we are jumping into it. Here's your Hollywood headlines. And we begin with the news of Johnny Depp stepping behind the camera to direct the upcoming film Modigliani. Depp will produce the European film alongside Barry Navidi and Hollywood icon Al Pacino.
Say hello to my little friend!
Following an Italian artist, this marks Depp's first directorial effort in 25 years. It also marks yet another job for the actor following the defamation trial against ex-wife Amber Heard. Maybe you heard about that trial on the news or something.
She goes, yeah, he threw a phone at me and hit me. And I'm going, where?
Johnny will also play the role of King Louis XV in an upcoming film and has since returned as the face of Dior Cologne. And if you smell that, it's the smell of a career comeback.
It's magic. Sauvage.
Switching now to Tom Holland. The popular Spider-Man actor has announced that he is stepping away from social media to focus on his mental health.
I don't feel so good.
You're all right.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
In a 3-minute video posted to his Instagram, Holland noted that social media has become detrimental to his mental state and that he spirals when he reads things about himself online.
Thank you for listening. I'm going to disappear from Instagram again. And to everyone out there, thanks for your love and support. I love you all, and I'll speak to you soon.
For now, Holland's 67.7 million followers will just have to get their fix of the actor the old-fashioned way, by watching him in the movies.
Oh my God! This isn't what it looks like happening.
Switching from one superhero to another, Dwayne Johnson has confused comic book fans while commenting on his upcoming Black Adam film, namely that he lobbied Warner Brothers to keep the character out of 2019's Shazam.
That kind of tickles. You're dead.
Black Adam was initially written into the script as Shazam's big bad opposite Zachary Levi, but Johnson thought this would be doing his character a disservice. And, well, what The Rock wants, The Rock gets. All right, and here to join me to break it all down just a little bit more is the Watch Mojo lady herself, Rebecca Brayton. Rebecca, I was trying to do some math. Give me your best estimate. How many videos have you narrated here at Watch Mojo?
Let's say 15,000. I have no idea. It would involve so much math. I've been doing voiceover for Watch Mojo, let's say since, I started there in 2008. So let's say 2008. That's a long time.
We got to call.
1 week, I did 11. 1 day, I did 11 in a day.
We have to call Guinness Book of World Records.
Look,
there's got to be.
That's been in the talks for years.
There's got to be a record there. So,
if Mario
regardless,
can
Rebecca,
get one, then I can get one.
There you go. All right, let's get some hot takes going, Rebecca. We're starting with Johnny Depp. Now, I want to focus on this new announcement that he's stepping behind the camera. So he's going to be directing. People might say, what? Johnny Depp behind the camera? But this isn't his first time directing. He's done a few, I think he's only actually done one, but he's done some producing. He produced the movie Hugo. So he's done a lot of stuff behind the scenes. What do you make of this new project that he's got on the go?
I actually haven't heard anything about it. Can you tell me about it?
Well, he's teamed up. Well, here's what's kind of interesting about it. He's teamed up producing it with Al Pacino. Pacino is joining him on the producing side, and the story is about this Italian artist, and it's it's going to take place in Italy. It's all going to be shot in Europe, and I feel like that's where Johnny Depp's biggest fan base is right now in Europe, don't you think? Like that seems to be the groundswell of like where he's really welcomed with open arms.
I guess so. I actually have no idea. I don't know where his fan base is most located, but taking the Johnny Depp out of it sounds like an interesting movie. Very kind of Chocolat, which he was in, I think. Is that him?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I feel like it's going to have that kind of European flavor to it. And so behind the camera, I don't think people should be too surprised because, like I said, Johnny has done stuff behind the camera before. But I think maybe his days of like the big blockbusters, like your Pirates of the Caribbean, are a little, maybe, I don't want to say over, but they're maybe years away from stepping back into those roles.
I don't know. I feel like when people get to a certain age, other than Tom Cruise, let's just remove Tom Cruise from this discussion. Maybe they don't want to do as many stunts or, physical activities on their movies. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do. And if you do, Tom Cruise, more power to you. And obviously it's worth it at the box office. But, maybe people just want to relax.
I think you're onto something because Brad Pitt has also said that he's in the last stage of his career in front of the camera. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Brad Pitt go behind and do some directing just like Johnny Depp did. But as far as Tom Cruise,
not yet. I don't think he has before.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think he will. But I don't think anyone can stop Tom Cruise. I think he's going to be jumping off of stuff in his 90s. This guy, he will never stop running. No. Okay.
He's going to invent new things to jump off.
He's already going to space. He jumped off everything on Earth. Got to jump off stuff in outer space now. Hey, let's move on to someone that I know you're a fan of, Tom Holland. Tom Holland has announced he's taking that break that a lot of people are taking, and that being from social media. And the reason why? Well, it's his mental health. He's finding that it's well, and he's not wrong because I'm right there with him. You go on those like spirals, and you're reading all these things. It has that negative impact. So he's kind of had enough. And with him, Rebecca, and I'll get you to chime in on this, he's saying that it's hard for him to read and see things about other people talking about him.
Yes, and ironically, that's what we're doing here. So I fully see the irony in that, everyone. Just throwing that out there. But I am being asked, so here's my opinion. I feel he's under a very specific microscope that you don't see it to that level all the time. Not everyone in his generation of actors has the same scrutiny that I feel like Tom Holland and Zendaya specifically as a couple get. And I mean, up to this point, it's all been positive, which is great. And I'm happy for them. At least I think so. Like everything I've seen has been positive, but I cannot imagine, I obviously I read comments about myself and I don't particularly enjoy that, so it's just times a million. So I do not blame anyone for taking a hiatus from social. I would do it if I could.
I think we all kind of forget that these celebrities, these stars, these actors that are in these big kind of movies and TV shows and musicians, they're still people, so they're still kind of affected by what people say online. So we might kind of think like, oh well, Tom Holland's not, he doesn't care what people say about him online. Apparently he does. He's not the only one that's taking breaks, though, in the, I want to call them the young Hollywood. Shawn Mendes had to step away from a tour to focus on his mental health, and you're seeing it in the headlines. Millie Bobby Brown has come out and said that she was really affected by certain things. So this isn't new, and I can see other kind of young stars especially stepping away from that social media, which is kind of weird to say because most of them feed off of it.
Yes, but it's impressive that they have the fortitude and the, self-knowledge to recognize that that's the best thing for them and the only way that they can kind of survive in the industry they're in. So I really respect that they had the guts to do it.
Yeah, gotta look out for what's up here, not just the abs, guys. You gotta look out for the mental health as well. Okay, speaking of abs and muscles, Dwayne, I'm all about the segues, right? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has got some comic book fans kind of scratching their heads. This is because he spoke out in Vanity Fair, Rebecca, saying that he really did not want Black Adam to appear in the Shazam movie. And he was supposed to be, his character, Black Adam, was literally supposed to be the big bad. And we comic book fans know, well, Black Adam, Shazam, they're very much tied together. He's the nemesis of Shazam, but Dwayne was like, no, I need my own movie first, and then we'll see what happens. Is this an ego trip from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or does it make sense?
I don't think it's an ego trip. I mean, obviously The Rock can carry a movie as the leading man. So like it's not that strange. It's interesting to have the origin story of a villain movie. We don't see a lot of that in the comic book movies. I'm thinking, do we?
No, you're right. You're right. And I think that's kind of what Dwayne Johnson wanted. He wants, because Black Adam, yes, he's the villain, and especially in the older issues, he's very much so. But you're seeing it in the trailer where he's kind of playing a bit of an anti-hero that still kills people. So I think The Rock seeing this is kind of like that, and I'm trying to think like a Suicide Squad-esque. Like, yes, these are bad guys, but maybe they're doing some good. So maybe that's where he wanted to take it. I don't know.
I understand why, as an actor, you would want to give the most to your character as you could. And obviously, even if he is The Rock, they're not going to let him. They're not just going to say yes. Why? Sure, because he asked them to, right? I'm sure it will all make sense. And honestly, if you look at the vibe of the Shazam movie versus the vibe of the trailer for Black Adam, different vibes. Very different vibes. Don't see how that would have meshed well together. So,
yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think it was a good choice in the end. We'll see how this Black Adam film does. I feel like maybe I'm alone in this, but I feel like the buzz, if you will, is kind of lukewarm. I feel like the groundswell of people getting excited, usually with like a superhero film along the lines of, okay, anything Marvel, it builds and builds and builds, and I feel like Black Adam's just kind of hovering there. He made the appearance at Comic-Con, so we'll see if this becomes a big deal, because DC and Warner Brothers will they need the hits.
They do. I feel like people are excited about things they're excited about, and like proven things. And Marvel's proven at this point, and DC's not. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle, but. If the movie succeeds, then the next one will definitely have that hype behind it.
Yeah, maybe absolutely. Hey, I'll be watching, and I know you'll be watching, and we'll probably talk about it right here. Rebecca, thank you so much for breaking this all down with me today.
No worries.
But you know the drill. You can't go anywhere because me and you, Rebecca, we got to go on the trip. It's my favorite trip. It's Beyond the List.
Beyond the List.
All right, Rebecca, here's what we're going to do. As always, we go in the archives of Watch Mojo, pluck out a top 10 list. We go beyond the list. What the heck does that mean? It means me and you get to have a little bit of fun. We go through that list. We give our opinions. Today, I want to know if you would want to see any of these movies. That's right. We're talking about movies, specifically movies that supposedly have an R-rated cut. These are movies that are not R-rated, but there's rumors. There's
Muppets Take Manhattan. Definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. That's a joke. That's
R.
But I would like to see that R-rated movie.
I'll watch it. Okay. Are you? By the way, do you when you watch a movie, do you care about the rating? Now that you're over 18.
I mean, are you calling me old?
No, I'm just saying.
Do I care about the rating? No. I care if it's obviously been, like chopped down from an R to a PG-13 or something. Like when there's like one F word in the movie. I can't believe I just said F word. I feel like a juvenile. But you know what I mean? Like when there's one swear in the movie and they saved it for something big and juicy. And I'm just like, this is very obviously PG-13. And like, that it's the swearing that gets me. It's not the violence or anything.
Really?
Like, I don't need it to be. Yeah, it really drives me crazy.
I
really like to swear.
If I see a horror movie and it's got a certain rate. If it's first of all, if a horror movie's rated PG-13, that to me is a red flag. It's going to be tamed way down. I like my horror. I guess it depends on what it is. What kind of horror we're talking about here.
Creativity wins, though. Like, if they can, you can be creative and have a PG-13 movie that works. What I will say is the Die Hard movies do not work if they are not R-rated. There, no. I said it.
I'm with you.
I know everybody's with me. That's not a hot take.
Preaching to the choir. But anyway. I think you're right. Some movies lend themselves directly to R-rated. Yeah. So let's see if these would have done better, or if we'd watch them. The Meg is number 10 on the list. This is Jason Statham. This was the big megalodon creature, a la Jaws, right? Gobbling people up. Apparently, there was going to be a little bit more gruesomeness to the action. And I say, oh yeah, I would like to watch an R-rated The Meg.
That feels like a movie that should have just been R-rated.
Creature.
I mean, who's sending their 13-year-old or 12-year-old to like a giant shark movie starring Jason Statham anyway? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So apparently it's like, like the dismember, because you got this big creature that's gonna like dismember bodies, and apparently there was trouble with like floating limbs and things like that. But that's what's gonna happen when you run into these big creatures.
Like Jurassic Park, almost definitely PG-13 or G.
Yeah,
I don't know. But that's like a scary monster movie that is family friendly and appropriate for, and it doesn't bother me. I don't feel it's missing anything. So it's doable, but there has to be what's your point? What's the point of the movie? Do you know what I mean?
No, I feel it. I feel your way. But an R-rated Jurassic Park, I think I'm sold.
I'm not against
I'd watch it. Okay, number 9's really weird. And boy, have we evolved a lot. And maybe not so much, to be honest. It's I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. The movie came out in 2007. This is was this a problematic movie? Remember, it was Adam Sandler, and who was the other guy? It was
who is the other guy? Are you joking? Who is ever the other guy? Kevin James. Always Kevin James.
Sorry.
It reminds me of that joke on Brooklyn Nine-Nine where he was like bidding for something and he in an auction, and Andy Samberg was like the auctioneer, and Andy Samberg was like heckling him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, what's your latest movie? Like, what is no, I can't remember what it was exactly." But then he's like, "I'm making a movie about like the Russian Revolution or something," or like, and then Andy Samberg is like, "What does Kevin James play?" And he's like, "Trotsky." I did not tell that story well because I don't remember it, but it's it's always Kevin James.
It's always Kevin James. Okay. But this was, do you remember this? And they were like, they had to pretend to be a gay couple to get some sort of money.
Benefits, yeah.
It was just problematic to begin with.
Usually problematic.
But here's the reason why it almost was R, and why it could be R, is because there was the kiss between Sandler and James, and they had to be cut out. What?
Do they rate movies R for kisses between Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying.
And what's your point? Like, I don't get it.
So, but that movie, by the way, was terrible.
I did not see that movie.
Oh, don't see that movie. Don't ever put that on your do not watch list. Yeah, and we're still seeing that too. The same-sex kiss. Like, what is happening? Other countries banning Lightyear because of an animated 2-second peck between.
I know,
two
and
girls.
when I saw that, I was like, "This is." Like, it wasn't even like.
Right.
It was just like a hey, like it was. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like a romantic big like, No.
Anyway. Yeah. Absolutely, craziness. All right, number 8, The Slender Man. Now, here's what I'm talking about with the horror movies. Now, I know the true stories behind The Slender Man and really tragic, horrific stuff involving kids. And I saw they're making a movie of this, and I was like, because I'd seen documentaries, and I was like, oh my God, this could be really creepy. And they really took out a lot of the gore. They made it PG-13. And it just fell completely flat. I actually forget it was instantly forgettable. You know when like the credits roll and you walk out and it's just that movie just leaves your brain. That's Slender Man.
That's too bad. I think based on the premise alone and what has happened in real life around the Slender Man, it should have been rated R anyway.
Yeah.
Because like basically the premise has proven to affect young people in a very specific dangerous way. So
yeah, very much so. There's a documentary that is rated R because they explain it all and they show different images. So do watch the Slender Man documentary. Don't watch that 2018 film. Stay Alive. I don't know anything about this. It's number 7 here. It came out in 2006. Do you know what this is? What is it? Stay Alive. Apparently it's about teenagers who are being lured to their death via online video gaming. And the issue here was the production company, Hollywood Pictures, was a subsidiary of Disney. And Disney made them tame down all the violence.
I don't remember this movie.
Yeah.
Does it have an alternate name?
No.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna Google it. Can I have a second to Google?
You can have a second to Google it. And while you do that, I just want to say now that Disney, now that we have Disney Plus, they put on different movies now that they've acquired Fox, and you're seeing Deadpool on Disney Plus. You can obviously do settings where like there's kids and stuff, but to me it's really interesting to see Disney associating themselves with these not so Disney movies now. But yeah, Stay Alive.
It kind of feels like R-rated or nope, like extra violent Jumanji. But I don't know. It you know, like you said, not all horror movies will work. Especially if it was written as an R-rated movie. Do you know what I mean? I feel like once, exactly.
That was the issue here. They had to take out all these things.
That's a huge problem.
That is a huge problem. Number 6 is a head scratcher to me, and it has to come down to what you were saying, the language earlier. The King's Speech, which is all about language, I guess. But yeah, there was apparently a lot of profanity in that script that gave it an R rating. Didn't that win Best Picture, The King's Speech?
I don't know if it won. Maybe it won.
I think it won.
It was definitely in the mix. It might have won. I think it was one of those ones that somebody else, another movie should have won. I can't remember.
I'm almost positive, but yeah, so.
Yeah. I think that, I think you get the idea. I think this movie worked as is. I wouldn't mind if I saw an R-rated cut, but I don't need to. You know what I mean?
It's not gonna elevate it, I don't think, anymore. Vulgar language was cut from The King's Speech. Okay.
Now I'm gonna do another Google. I want to see who actually won, or no, who I thought.
I think it was The King's Speech.
No, I think you're right, but I want to know
who did it beat.
Yeah, exactly.
The year was 2010. The King's Speech. It's an okay movie. I remember watching it, but I remember being shocked. Yeah.
King's Speech won over 127 Hours, Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, The Kids Are All Right, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, Winter's Bone. Now, I wouldn't be a Watch Mojo employee if I didn't say The Social Network should have won. I've never seen The Social Network, so I don't care. But the company really likes that movie.
I like it. I like it better than The King's Speech. Number 5 is Galaxy Quest. This one...
I love that movie so much.
This is an interesting one. Galaxy Quest, 1999. Tim Allen. It's like and Sigourney Weaver.
To me, it's an Alan Rickman movie.
But it could have been R-rated, and I think it has a lot to do with the specific language and some of the humor.
I think this movie worked as is. I wouldn't be mad at seeing an R-rated cut, but I think they did a good job with this movie. It's really funny. I really like it.
Yeah, no, I do too. Isn't that it's like a bit of a gem? I don't think it did spectacular at box office, did it?
It's kind of a cult movie. It might be more popular now, but I saw it. When was the first time I saw it? Not that long after it came out, I guess. And
It works.
It's definitely a hidden gem. It definitely works. It's super weird, but I love it.
Yeah, no, it totally works. If you haven't seen it, Galaxy Quest, guys, trust me on this. Number 4, The Avengers. Yeah, the Marvel Avengers, 2012, the first Avengers film. Could have been rated R, and it all comes down to that pivotal scene where Coulson gets, he gets stabbed.
Spoiler. If you watch Mojo and you don't know that Coulson gets stabbed by Loki in the first Avengers movie, what videos have you been watching?
Yeah, sorry. But that scene could have been... I'm trying to remember. Do they even show the...
I think they just imply it.
Yeah.
You know, like they
kind of... They show the aftermath, maybe. Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. I don't need to see him die. No. I think this worked fine, and I think it's the kind of movie that did not need to be rated. It should not have been rated R.
No.
So I think this was a smart choice.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see any like the Avengers type films cross over to R rated.
They should be accessible to kids.
They should. Yeah, well, those characters don't really lend themselves to big violence or anything like that, right? There is room for those characters. If you try to do Deadpool not rated R, then you got problems. But I think the Avengers are fine the way they are.
I don't know. Even Doctor Strange, in the Multiverse of Madness, that movie was scary. I don't know if I'd take a kid to that, to be honest with you. But
there were a few. It's funny you say that. I sat next to, in the screening I was at, there was they must have been teenagers. I think they were on a date, and the girl, she kept legitimately being scared, and she would jump into she was falling into my lap.
Bad date. Oh my God.
Yeah. She was legitimately scared. All right, number 3. We're at 3. This one's called Cursed. I remember this, and boy, it was not good. It was Wes Craven, and I love me some Wes Craven, especially when it comes to horror. And this one was like a werewolf type movie. What was it? 2005. Yeah, so we're kind of coming off the heels of Scream, and yeah, this was not good. And the fact that there could be an R-rated version of this, man, I want to see that.
Yeah, that's disappointing. That reeks of studio interference.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think Wes Craven would ever have on purpose made a PG-13 movie.
No, not at all. So yeah, I'm if that ever comes out, I'm the first one buying it. I'm sorry, I'm looking over at number 2, and it's Scooby-Doo. Rebecca.
Oh yeah, okay. This
2002 Scooby-Doo. Do you know how? Oh, I'm seeing now. Okay, why was this almost R-rated?
I don't know exactly, but I could picture it being more of a I think it is kind of a parody of Scooby-Doo. It kind of is taking the piss out of it a bit. But I think they could go further with it, and that is probably where it would be a bit more risque. I'm joking.
Risque also with the female cleavage.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah. No, that's apparently they had to cover up a lot of that. And if you watch the movie,
you'll be okay, folks. You'll be okay.
Have you seen these lately?
Which?
The Scooby-Doos, the live action 2002.
No, I haven't. I saw it when it came out, but I don't remember.
I've watched them lately, and I can see, they really, especially the second one, there's so many innuendos and in jokes to do with sexuality and the different characters. So I can see how it got pretty raunchy at points. Apparently,
know your audience. Well, I mean, I guess that the cleavage thing works there too. Know your audience, but anyway.
2002.
Again, you'll be fine.
2002. Think back to 2002. Your Britney Spears with the low rise, and that was very much in vogue at the time, unfortunately. All right, number 1, Rebecca. I'm looking at it, and I'm so here for it. Mrs. Doubtfire, an R-rated Mrs. Doubtfire, right? Count me in.
I'm so in. I am so in. I don't think it's necessary because I think they made the right choice to make this a family-friendly movie with no minimal swears or no swears. I don't remember. But I would love to see it. Okay, wait. Does that mean there's a like R-rated Aladdin somewhere? Because I think there's like 6 hours of raw improv footage of him.
There's probably R-rated versions of all of Robin Williams movies. And frankly, if you watch any of his stand-up, you know that it can get pretty filthy. So Robin Williams goes there. But yeah, an R-rated Mrs. Doubtfire, just dropping those F-bombs, getting vulgar in the outfit. I'm so there. What was it? 1993 though. That's when that came out.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. So, I'm so there. Hey, Rebecca, thanks for not dropping any F-bombs with me today.
This time.
Yeah, there's always a next time. Always a next time. But it's now time to jump into our Mojo Chats of the week. It's with the director and the stars of the new survival film, Fall. The movie is titled Fall, and it is quite the survival film that I really, really enjoyed. Here to tell us more about it are some of the stars. Ladies, how are you?
Good on land.
I might as well mention this first off the bat. I hate heights. I'm afraid of heights. Watching this movie gave me anxiety, but you know what? I love that out of a movie. That makes me kind of sweat in my seat, literally edge of my seat the entire time. So I got to ask, in real life, were you afraid of heights?
You can't be. We couldn't be shooting this.
Yeah.
I had some moments where my stomach had butterflies and I was like, am I scared right now? And I was like, there are a lot of people watching. You can't be. Got to just push through.
So filming it, okay, that was my next question. Were you actually was this on like a sound stage where you're like, you know, a little tiny thing? No?
This was in the desert, on a 2,000-foot mountain, and then they built a 100-foot tower on top of this mountain.
Oh.
So we were actually 100 feet off the ground when we get dropped. It was that far of a drop. When we're hanging off with one hand, we were actually hanging off a 100-foot tower with one hand. I mean, everything you see, it was real. We were doing it.
Yeah, it was immersive. And elements with wind and bugs and just...
You're blowing my mind. You're blowing my mind. So how much acting was involved? Were you actually?
How much?
It's a documentary.
Preparation, was there like a boot camp that they put you through to get ready for this?
Yeah, I mean, it was pandemic, so we were all like quarantined and they had us train with a trainer. We didn't have a ton of time, but they like kicked our butt because they wanted to make sure, because we were actually climbing up and down that ladder, that we weren't going to hurt ourselves, that our bodies were a little bit conditioned. But I was getting abs at like a rapid speed. I mean,
you were like ripped by the end of the movie.
Amazing. I should probably take that up. Talk to me about what you think audience are going to get out of it, because yes, it is a thriller. It's a thriller, suspense. It's a survival film, as I mentioned at the top. But we're playing with a lot of interesting themes. Virginia, I don't know if you want to take that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think as an audience, I've seen the movie twice, and I've seen it on the big screen both times, and I've seen it with a group of people who have not seen the film yet and don't know what's coming. And I can say I think it's the first film that I've really been a part of where I've seen people physically move to the edge of their seat, and they're gasping and their palms are sweaty. And I mean, it is just such an immersive film. Yeah, and you really felt it like that. So I think audiences that are thrill seeking and really, really want that adrenaline rush from a film, I mean, this is the perfect film for just that.
I think you nailed it. That's what I like. I like to get my adrenaline rush watching other people do things that I
sure. Yeah.
You suffered for my enjoyment. I don't know. Any tips for us people that are afraid of heights?
I mean, we were in stunt harnesses with wires. And a lot of the time when we were climbing up that high, it was to perform a stunt because there's quite a few stunts in it. And the biggest thing was having the support and trusting all the professionals involved. So we had a really safe environment to be brave. The people who get out there with nothing, I just don't understand. That is, I need tips from them because that's
Safety is key. Those vultures, those weren't real, right? Were they?
Yeah, real vultures.
We had real vultures.
No vultures were harmed in the making of this film, but we had real vultures.
I didn't kill a vulture, but
you had real vulture. No, you guys are blowing my mind here. I'm like, in the day and age where everything's CGI, it's like, okay, well, those are fake. And okay, they probably did this on like a soundstage. Everyone was super safe. No, you had actual vultures on the set. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is what I think attracted both of us to the project. Really, with Scott was like, we're going to do this old school practically. It's going to look so much better than had we done it on a green screen. It certainly makes acting a lot easier when you're dealing with these real elements while filming it. And yeah, I mean, everything you see, we really did.
That's awesome. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, right? He pops up in here. I'm a big fan of his. Negan on The Walking Dead. I mean, who's not a fan of his? And he's got a million other credits, of course. What was that like working with the old Jeffrey Dean?
Well, truthfully, we had a lot of issues with COVID, and like we mentioned, we were filming this during the pandemic. We were one of the first shoots to come back, and we weren't able to shoot the scenes together.
No, the magic of movie making.
The most movie magic that occurred. And I got to see a cut of his performance, and we had it blasting through a bullhorn in LA while I acted with him. So I mean, I think that was, the most movie magic that we had the whole time. But I was really giddy to have him. I was so bummed not to get to actually work with him in the flesh, but it's pretty incredible. You would never know. You would never know.
Like,
you didn't know.
I'm going to say, I've said this maybe 4 times this entire interview, but my mind's blown. My mind's blown. Virginia, after this movie, do you have aspirations to now climb things, or are you just going to, no?
I had done some like bouldering, like in controlled environments with like pads underneath me in the past, and I loved bouldering. I will say, after filming this movie and being dropped off of 100 feet several times, I have developed like a little bit of a fear of heights, because I know how it feels to drop from something so high now that I'm actually like, I don't see myself ever wanting to climb up that high again. I mean, it definitely, having had the experience of falling from that high, like it does change you.
See, the climbing is good. It's the falling that's bad.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's end with a little bit of fun, because we here at Watch Mojo, we like to we like to rank things. We're all about the top 10, top 20s, you name it. Survival films, I mean, there's been a lot of them. I'm sure this will end up on a lot of people's lists, but what tops your list? What's that one survival film that maybe it's the first thing that just came to your mind right now, but what's the one that you enjoyed the most? I mean, you can throw it a couple if you want.
It's kind of silly, but I thought of Terminator. It's like, you're trying to survive.
Big.
And, kind of going for a Sarah Connor thing in fall. So
yes,
got to bring that up.
I love it. Virginia?
I think I'd say 127 Hours. I mean, that movie really was tough to watch. That was one that like I saw one time and I was like, I don't think I could stomach sitting through, like it was that anxiety inducing for me.
Yeah. And parallels with Fall, where it's like, well, no spoilers, but when you're looking around and there's no one there.
Yeah. Right.
And you're secluded. So
yeah.
It's great stuff. So I thank you for going through that for our entertainment, our enjoyment. The movie is titled Fall. Make sure you check it out. Thank you guys so much. The movie is titled Fall, and hey guys, it's an edge of your seat thrill ride. Take it from me, someone who's a little afraid of heights. Here to tell me more about it is the director and also one of the co-writers. Hey Scott, how's it going?
I'm good, thank you, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm not joking. I was literally watching this movie on the edge of my seat. And as I alluded to, I am slightly afraid of heights. What about you? What's your relationship with
with heights and gravity, my relationship. I like many people, I'm scared of heights. I've had many experiences where I feel that fear, and the film came about through myself and the co-writer. We were filming on a stadium rooftop in London on another movie, and it wasn't what we were filming on screen that was kind of causing us the conversation. It was actually where we were stood and the sheer drop that was next to us, and we were just like, heights and fear of falling hasn't fully been tapped into in a singular movie experience yet, and we wanted to try and do that. That's the kernel of it.
No, you're so right about that. And I think this movie does an excellent job of doing it. And I was shocked to learn after watching it that, hey, listen, we were actually on these, really tall structures filming. I just assumed it was like a sound stage and there's a green screen. And maybe there was something like, 5 feet tall. No, you put your actors out there in the wild doing this. Tell me about the prep that went into it.
It was the film. What happened before the film and the setup of the film is kind of, I guess, the biggest challenge, but also I'm glad we did it the way we did it. It was like, we could have shot it if it was in a soundstage and it was done the regular way. I think it's a $50 to $100 million movie that is CG. You know what I mean? Maybe you have like the masters of Cameron and Zemeckis doing it. You can say, okay, well, they'll get away with that. But even then, and I think you're fighting reality, right, rather than capturing reality. And I think we chose to go the whole of the way, which is like have a small team, have like these IMAX cameras, and go on this expedition up the top of a mountaintop and actually film at 2,000 feet and put the actors up on a high structure and film them so they're actually there within the elements. And that methodology of doing this smaller version that is actually much more real is even though it was horribly difficult to pull off, was actually like worthwhile in the end, and what's worked out.
Absolutely, it definitely worked. What was the biggest challenge doing all that? I'm assuming there was lots.
There was lots, yeah. One of the biggest one of the biggest challenges is getting everything up there. Like when you're in the tiny tip of a mountain, it's like even kind of driving up there. I remember the techno crane, like we couldn't get it up there because it was too wide a wheelbase, like the actual pieces of the tower and all these things. It was almost like having everything get to the top of the mountain was its own little adventure, and building it there. So it was there was a lot of kind of engineering scratching heads of how to do this. And it was weird. Like we were up there. I remember once I was looking on my phone last night. I got this video where like we're at the top of this, we're at the top there, and the airplanes are flying under us, as we're filming, and it's very weird. And so, but all the elements that buffer against it and then kind of form it, it's it's worthwhile. Weirdly, I'm looking at your background there, Matt, and I'm seeing Jaws, and I would say that we have some similarities going on. Not that it's trying to, I would never put it as greatness, frankly, but Jaws being a nightmare filmed at sea for real, I think that has it feels real. It holds up today. It still holds up now because it really was pointing everyone in that experience, and we did that. And I think honestly, like I think this movie will hold up because we've caught it for real. And then just the bad guy, like similar conversation about the gravity thing, right? It's like, look, the truth is our shark is kind of gravity, is the fear of falling, is pulling you down, and that's our villain. So like, how do we play with that, and how do we have it kind of work with us?
No, that's awesome. And with these type of survival movies, we always put ourselves in those situations. And how would we survive? I probably wouldn't, by the way. I would be a goner. I'd be a goner.
Well, you've seen what I would try and do, but to be honest, we had 4 weeks to kind of write out those thoughts and suggestions, as opposed to kind of a few days. I think if I was on there a few days, I might not have come up with any of that stuff.
I'm sure this movie will be so popular on airplanes eventually, right? Want to watch that while you're flying. Okay, before we go, and I pose this to the stars of the movie as well, and you brought up Jaws, is there other survival films that you hold near and dear? Because we here on Watch Mojo, we like to rank things. So what tops your list, Scott, of survival films?
I don't know if Jaws is a survival film, but I would definitely put it on the top of the list for me. I'm and actually where we go with sharks is like my producer James Harris did a film 47 meters down. That was an excellent film. I loved that, and we jokingly called this one 47 meters up at times, just for a laugh. But yeah, I love Single Point, like Buried. It's a great movie. I think that the more kind of singular that concept, the more kind of creative everyone has to be, and I love that kind of movie for sure. It's always my faves.
Amazing. Well, Scott, this has been so much fun chatting with you. We want to encourage everyone to check it out. The movie is called Fall.
Fall.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition, everybody. Big thanks going out to everyone over there at Lionsgate's Fall. Such a great film. Do check it out. And hey, the Watch Mojo lady, Rebecca Brayton, can always count on her to bring the hot takes. And thank you for watching and listening. Till next time, I've been Mr. Hollywood, popping the culture.